So in this video we're going to be going through the importance of your payday routine. So a majority of the people in the US, in the UK, often find that money is one of the biggest sources of stress in their lives. Having a payday routine I think is just so important. It helps you to build good financial habits by basically crowding out the opportunity for bad financial habits to creep their way into your life. Just having that timetable, just having that checklist makes things so much easier. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. The key thing will really level all this up for you. Set up your pension. This is before a penny has hit your bank account. This is making sure you're fully enrolled in your workplace pension. Now, I cannot stress how important this is. And in the UK, in particular, it's important for two main reasons. The first is that if you contribute 5%, say, and your employer matches up to 5%, then you're doubling your money straight off the bat, which is a good thing. But also, in the UK, you also don't pay income tax on any pension contributions that you make. So it means that not only are you doubling up your money by having your employer contribute, but you're also making a tax saving. This really gets to the core of the issue, which is if you never even see that money, it just goes from your employer straight into your retirement, then it's money that potentially can't come into your hands, which you can develop bad money habits with. The next is to pay your needs. Now, pant-wettingly stupid people will say, the problem which lots of people face when they come to what their needs is that they're very loose about what their needs are. They need this and they need that, and actually there are lots of things that I would classify as being wants. And it's fine to have wants, but just be honest about what really are your needs and what really are your wants. A need is not take away 2 nights a week or something. It's a want. You can have that in your budget. You can have that money be spent the way you want to spend it, but it's not a need. So your needs would cover things like minimum debt repayments if you have them, it's a roof over your head, it's grocery shopping, it's getting to and from work, it's kids' education or childcare. The things which you can't do without. Pay your credit card bill. I think we should probably be more specific. Pay your credit card bill in full and on time. Because having that credit card debt, letting it roll over from one month to the next is a really, really easy way of eroding your net worth. And that's because what you basically find is that the interest charged on credit cards is stratospheric when compared to other forms of finance. We had another video where we talked about building some of these big annual expenses into your budget. Don't just think, you see, if I pay my home insurance in full every year, then I make a 10% saving. But if you have to go into credit card debt in order to make that payment and you're getting charged 30% on your credit card, you've actually not saved yourself any money. So if you're in a position where you've built that into your budget, you can just pull it out of your emergency fund. This is something that I know I had to pay. The time has come to pay it. Emergency fund. Key goods. Pay down your other debts. So I think we should be really clear that it depends what kind of debt you've got. One of the things I've done in the past when I had lots of credit card debt, which I've talked about in other videos, is I swapped it out for a personal unsecured loan, and the loan interest rate was like 4 or 5% or something. The credit card was 20-something%. But the key thing is it just gave me fixed payments that I had to make every single month. Now when it comes to paying down debt, there are 2 key methods. The first is the snowball method. This is where you pay the smallest balance first, and this is for people who psychologically are looking for that win earlier on. And then the other method is the avalanche method, which is irrespective of the size of the debt, you pay the highest interest debt first. Now for the most part, it doesn't always work out, but generally mathematically speaking, the avalanche method is better because you're getting rid of that high interest debt first. Can't get charged interest because you've paid off a lot of that debt as early as you can. So really focusing on your debt, and we've talked about value-based budgeting as well on this channel. Video will be just here or something, and how having that target and having that focus will be really key. Check in on your emergency fund. The general consensus is between 3 and 6 months of living expenses is ideal for an emergency fund. So if you've not quite hit that threshold, let's just say you're aiming for 6 months, if you've not quite hit that 6 months, then just keep topping it up, just month on month until it's all full. For me, psychologically, it's much easier if I know I've got one of these bills coming up, I know I've got to get my car serviced, something like that. Maybe I'll just put a little bit extra in for the 2 or 3 months before that's going to happen, because it's a fixed time period. By just putting a little bit more in, when it comes to having to take that money out of the emergency fund to pay for the service, it doesn't feel like the hammer blow that it can do. Next is savings and investments. Personally, I use the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your after-tax income goes on your needs, 30% on your wants, 20% on your savings and investing. So I think just making sure that you're keeping an eye on your investments, so that you're putting that 20% away every single month is it's a nice easy rule to go to. One of the reasons why I like both of these budgets is They offer you, in the past I talked about how they offer you a framework, but they also don't treat your finances like a straitjacket. And one of the reasons why investing as early as possible is so important, it's much easier to start early, incrementally, than it is to try and finish strong and late right at the end, just as you're coming up to retirement. And that's because ultimately your overall contributions will have to be less because the interest earned will have done more of the work for you. Check in on your budget. I'm not necessarily, as we know on this channel, I'm not necessarily a fan of checking every single penny where it's all going. I think having a budget which is approximately correct, which is leading you in the right general direction, is, I think, generally more effective. It's easier for people to follow a budget where they know roughly where their money is going, rather than a budget where they have to know exactly where everything is going. So just check in on your budget. Oh, we had this much put in for groceries, but we actually spent this much. Well, why is that? Oh, well, we had people over for dinner, so we spent this extra. That sort of thing is absolutely fine. Well, we spent a bit less on fuel. Why is that? Oh, we didn't go to work that week off, working from home, something like that. And so just making sure you're generally moving in the right direction, checking that the budget roughly aligns with what you're actually spending in the month, and adjusting the budget if you need to. Enjoy your money. As we always talk about on this channel, we are not fun sponges. We obviously recognise that you don't just get up in the morning, go to work, come home, eat beans and rice like you're on I'm a Celebrity or Bush Tucker Trial or some nonsense like that, and then go to bed. You have to have space in your life and money in your budget for actually enjoying it. And I think this is really key. It's something which is just not talked about enough. So it doesn't have to be the case that you have vast sums of money, but just a bit of money in there. Maybe you go out for a date night once a month, maybe you take the kids to the cinema, whatever it is, but just something that makes it feel as though it's worthwhile. Boost your savings. A trap which you see people fall into a lot is if they're using, say, a 50-30-20 rule, they only spend, say, 25% on their wants, and they'll go, oh god, I've got this extra 5%, I've got to go and do what... No, if you've had a slow social month that month, just put the extra 5% into savings. The 30% is not a target, it's a guide. So if you don't spend the full 30, just top it up, just pay a bit more towards your debt or pay a bit more into your savings and investing. You don't have to spend every single penny just because it's in your budget. So this is the moment you've all been waiting for, the key thing that will really level all this up for you. So having a payday routine is really important. We've listed why it's so important in this video, but this next thing is the thing that really takes it up to the next level, and that's automating your finances. Making just as much of this as automated as possible so you don't have to think about it is just, it's something which I wish I'd done sooner. It just makes life so much easier. Less life admin, hate life admin. And it just removes the temptation for you. We have a video coming out about it, link is just here. Make sure you watch it so that you're really taking this to the next level and you're really getting the maximum benefit from having a payday routine. Peace.